face. I literally could see it. You're like, holy shit, Jesse. Everybody, it's Jesse Palacios with Truck Talks. And we got a little sun glare, so you have to excuse. Of course, the eyeglasses are always going to get caught. Today, we have one of our associate brokers with Stars and Stripes, Miss Angela Troglen.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
So check this out. Me and Angela have worked together for what, about a year now?
About a year and a half.
Yeah. And quiet professional that swings a heavy stick. Right? So you may not hear a whole lot of stuff coming out of her mouth, but whenever she does things, let me just paint a picture. Our Stars and Stripes dynamic in our social media. So she knows a lot of tricks of the industry, and she knows a lot of the stuff that happens. So Angela, give us a quick elevator speech of who you are. Like
who I am.
Yeah, who are you,
Who
man?
am I? Oh,
are you a
wow.
local girl that grew up around here, or what's your story, man?
So I've been on the coast now for 17 years. From Picayune.
Okay.
I lived in Hattiesburg for 5 years before moving down here.
Okay.
And I've been down here ever since.
Mm-hmm.
Been in real estate now for 5.5 years. And a licensed broker for 2 years. So
have some clout to you. You've been around, you know some things, right?
I know a few things.
Know a few things. So, it's interesting enough here lately. I feel like the dynamic of people who've been sitting in this seat have had epiphany moments later on. Not so much in the seat. I'm not even gonna lie. It's not like I'm some magical. It's after the fact, because they say things, and then once they view or hear some things in the future, it's kind of like, man, the message is clear now. And so here lately, I will say, like in my mini truck talks, I've been talking about accountability and discipline and moving different because you are different and things like that. But one thing that kind of resonates with me whenever I ask people is like the 20-year question. So if you could backtrack to you 20 years ago, man, if you could give some truth bombs and spit some knowledge to yourself, what would that sound like? Like, would you be in real estate right now, do you think?
I do.
You do?
I do feel like I'm on the right path.
Okay, cool.
I do. 20 years ago, well, let's see. Growing up, your parents always tell you that time flies. And the older you get, time really does fly. And so I was so focused on the future when I was 20, 21, 22.
Yes.
And I wish now, looking back, I wish I would have just enjoyed the time that I had, instead of focusing on the future so much, because the future's gonna come, and it's gonna come quick.
Speak on it, because that's one thing that we can't stop is time, right?
And like I said, the older I get, time is precious. Like time spent with people, the things that I do, because I feel like, unfortunately, I've got more years behind me than I do ahead of me. And so if, we're so focused on tomorrow and the future and everything. And I think that if I could go back, I would just try to, tell myself to slow down and enjoy the ride, enjoy the journey you're on day by day.
Man, that's deep, because check it. That right there hits different. Because whenever you're in your 20s, I did this the other day. I was talking about it, take the risk, right?
Yep.
But whenever you're in your 20s, there's a threshold around you, and it's a safety net. And it's usually the environment you're fostered in, your family dynamic, your mom, your dad. They don't want you to make a mistake because they don't want you to feel that hurt. And I was talking to my son literally the other day. This is like, wow. So I was talking to my son the other day, and we were talking about it. And I said, dude, think about this. If you're able to make a move and make a risk now, and you have a failure, then now you know what not to do the next time you make that move.
Very true.
And it's okay to make those mistakes, because we were talking about starting a business for him. And he was like, well, what if it doesn't succeed? I was like, man, it's okay.
Right.
I said, if you think the most successful people in the world just snapped their fingers, jumped out, and made it successful, I'm sure there's some out there, and congratulations to you if you landed on the horseshoe. Congrats. But the majority of us are learning the ways. And I will say, like, that was a pretty in-depth way of looking at it. Like time, slow down.
I mean, it is. And then when you have kids, time goes by even faster. And then the older you get, this year alone, this 2024, it's just gone by so fast. And it's like, it's scary.
Yeah.
It really is scary because you don't know how much time you have.
Well, and then the big thing here is like in our lives, we have people that come in and out of our lives, right?
Right.
Seasons, reasons in a lifetime. But those time frames that they last, if they're so damn impactful, that's a different dynamic that we aren't expecting, right? And then they leave footprints in our heart. And we're talking about like if you lose a family member or you lose a loved one, you go through things. Those things are something that changes you to look at time differently. I promise you. And you know what? It's very intriguing to hear that your time stamp is something that's heavy on your heart right now.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
You know,
well, I mean, I lost my dad 3 years ago. I lost my brother last year. And that, you have to just embrace the time that and I'm grateful for the 40 and 42 years I had with them, but it wasn't enough. And so you have to really, like, when you have people in your life, like every single day I tell my kids this, because my kids don't want to spend that much time with me. I mean, let's be real.
I mean, whose kids?
Especially my 13-year-old, he doesn't want to spend time with me.
Right.
But I'm like, please, just give me a little bit of your time. You don't understand now, but you will one day.
So that's a cool concept. So how do you frame that conversation in your world? Like, you say it's important to you, but how do you elevate that conversation to others to where they feel that ripple? I always talk about the pebble in the pond concept. Your pebble and the way you ripple is going to be something along the lines of your heart leans towards time management.
Yes.
Your heart leans.
And honestly, I think being in real estate for the past 5.5 years, we're always on a deadline. We always have we deal with time, we deal with dates, and we deal with things like that, and it's a little scary sometimes. I mean, especially you got a contract and you're waiting on the clear to close, and you're just sitting on it, walking on eggshells.
You work in time increments.
Yes,
literally.
Everything is about time. Everything is about time. So, I think the past 5.5 years being and dealing with dates and dealing with time frames and stuff has really made me even more like this than it was before real estate. But and then just in general life, watching my kids grow up and watching them, I have a 13-year-old, and it seriously feels like he was born yesterday. Like it went by so fast.
It's no joke, because again, I have a 20-something-year-old, and my 20-something-year-old is literally getting ready to launch pad out, and I'm just kind of like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
It's something like I don't think me and my wife are ready for it whenever it does happen. But whenever it does happen, it's kind of like, man, it's so exciting because I'm so proud, right?
Right.
Meanwhile, I got my little one, preteen, and she's sitting back, and I still got the, hey, sit in the pocket moment and hug up with dad stuff, right? So I get where your heart is on that. And
absolutely.
Then you transition that into your work environment, and your people learn who you are very quick.
They do.
They learn.
They do.
And I say your people, I'm not talking about your clients, because clients, they will come and go. People will come and go in your life. I'm talking about your people, your anchors, your beacons, your compasses, if you will.
Yep.
And sometimes they come in ways, clients, friends, work accomplices.
100%.
Right?
100%.
Right? So it's been a very fruitful journey in that regard, though. Like,
yes.
I've watched you transition from quiet Angela to comfortable Angela you were quiet in the beginning. Like, real talk, she'd go in her office, be, doop, doop. Oh, Angela's here. Oh, okay, you're quiet. Well, and then now it's kind of like, hey, y'all.
Yeah.
But I know that's a comfort thing as you get more comfortable.
Yeah,
course,
absolutely.
Right. So what was Angela thinking? I always ask this one too. Whenever she was a little Angela looking into the bigger world, as far as what your career dynamic was going to be. Did you think you were going to be in real estate? Did you think you were going to be an entrepreneur? Did you think you were going to be a social media mogul?
None of that.
Man.
None of that.
So you see, I'm a man of faith, right? And
I think at one point I wanted to be an orthodontist. I mean, I'm serious. Like, I'm pretty sure and then I go to college and I get my degree in film production.
Really?
Yes.
I didn't know that. So this makes sense to you.
Yes, it does.
Oh.
So I have a bachelor's degree in film production, and I dabbled in it a little bit in New Orleans and places like that. But life happened, and things happened in life that kept me from pursuing that as much as I wanted to. But real estate was kind of always been like a family thing. A lot of people
everybody seems to know a real estate agent.
A lot of people in my family are realtors, and you know, it was kind of planted in me several years ago, and then when the opportunity presented itself, I just said, yeah, you know what, it's time to do this.
And it's crazy because whenever I first started in real estate, it wasn't something that was on my radar at all. Right? It wasn't something that I was heartfelt about. And in the beginning, I thought, well, man, I get to help out some people because I didn't feel a certain way about certain things, right? So at the end of the day, it just seems like, yeah, you started off interested in this.
Yeah.
You went into real estate, but you're still tied to the dynamic of videography, still tied to production, still tied to things that are heartfelt.
Right.
I think that Angela back in the day is still in there trying to come out. She's like, yo. So whenever you're ready, people, if you have a production company, hit me up, man. I might have some diamonds in the rough sitting in my seat, literally, that you can tie into. And guess what? I guarantee you she has some phenomenal ideas that she can do some stuff for your company. Like, that's the whole seat talk. Like, you can network into whoever the network is, right? The last piece I'll kind of touch point with you.
Okay.
So I'm a man of faith. And I lean into that pretty good. And I think everybody around here gives me a little bit of fluff here and there.
We've had a lot of talks.
Yeah, we've had a lot of talks, right? At the end of the day, whenever you're faltering and you're going through your season, the one thing I'll leave you with is just lean, move forward. It's hard to understand some things, and something I saw today resonated with me. I'm always reading things. It's crazy here lately. I feel like I'm reading a lot more, right?
I am too, yeah.
I read something that, you know, your past doesn't dictate your future.
No.
And that right there, that hit home to me this morning of all times. Like, I was a cup of coffee and I was like, because we all
Thank God for that.
I mean, right? Because I don't know about you, but
yeah,
you know,
I'm so happy that that's not the case.
But your future movement, man. I mean, the fact that people get to know a little bit more about the quiet Angela, because that's what everybody thinks until they get to know you.
Until they get to know me, yeah.
You know, and they have a nickname over here. It's like Jolie.
Jolie.
Yeah. So, but at the end of the day, Angela, I really appreciate you coming on. I love you.
Yeah,
giving us a little bit of
me.
you here. I appreciate that.
I had a good time.
I love that you gave that up. And the vulnerability of this seat, sometimes we don't know what we're going to talk about.
Nope.
Surprise.
I like it. I think you're doing a great job.
Well, I appreciate that,
I like
man.
this truck talk thing.
So remember that. Like, subscribe, push the button, do the ding, make it all happen, and then come back and hit us up next Friday whenever a new episode comes out, and stay tuned for more for your daily version of the Truck Talk. Angela, thanks for being with us.
Thank you for having me.
Jesse with Truck Talks. Y'all have a blessed one. We'll talk to you later.